Welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And folks, it's episode 38.
38.
The mercy. So we reach 40. So rich 40 boy. So guys, we are so excited because our guest, he's been on it before, and we're just happy to have him back. So Faheem, please introduce who we got.
That's right. We got podcast family. Welcome back. It was great last time, and we'll do it again. Let's welcome Milan to the podcast today.
What's going on, everybody?
Milan. What's going on, Milan, man? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me back. I was really excited when I was talking to Janelle last week and she mentioned coming back on. I was really excited to come back.
Nice.
Yes, man. Also, it's your birthday. You're a May baby, so happy belated birthday to you as well, brother.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So Milo, I kind of have to ask you a little question about your team, the Dallas Cowboys. How are you feeling right now after the draft? How are you feeling?
Well, I'll be very honest with you. I don't outwardly boast about the Cowboys anymore. They have to earn that respect back from me. But I will say I am impressed with what they did, what they addressed. A lot of the time, like my biggest issue with them was that there was a huge sense of entitlement on the team. You got there, if you had one good season, you were the man and they treated you as such. And there was no sense of competition. Everybody felt comfortable and everyone was playing fat. Now with the draft, a lot of guys are on notice.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. If you, especially on the defense, so like the Jalen Smiths and the Leighton Vander Esch and so on and so forth. Like if you're not coming to play, your replacement, we just got them. So if you're not if you're not coming to play, bye. We'll just make room for somebody else, and that's what has been missing. Like of course you think back to the old '90s teams, like they had that edge. Now it seems like it finally catching on. Like they need to get that edge back. We'll see if it works, but I'm impressed with what they did.
Okay.
All right. So you're a Cowboys fan, right? Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys are a quote unquote America's team. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to ask in regards to Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned the word entitlement. And when I think of that, I think of Dak he walked into a very nice situation. So you being a Cowboys fan, real quickly, let me know going forward after the injury, what's your take in regards to Dak going forward being a Cowboys fan?
As a Cowboys fan, I'm very comfortable with him being the leader because of his makeup. You hear his story, just listen to how he talks. You can see that people will play for him. You know what I mean? So it's like as long as he just bees himself, he just behaves as himself, and he just works on his skill, he's going to get better.
Okay, and real quickly, does the injury worry you at all?
Ankle, not so much, because you could just play smarter to avoid those sort of instances.
But like a QB has to go back, like drop back on every single position. That's got to take a toll on the lower body, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
And he's not very old. He's a young QB, right? So, but you still feel confident that, okay.
Yeah, with modern technology, like injuries aren't the same. Like you have to remember, like maybe 10 years ago, you got an ACL, you're done.
Right.
That's so true. Back in the day, ACL injury, career ending.
Now ACL, like your first year, you might be a little off, but by the second year back, you're back to being your normal self. So I'm not worried about him.
Well, speaking of ankle injury, let's talk about some hot topics.
LeBron James.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, nice tag.
Yeah, I had to get that for him still.
So let's get into LeBron James. LeBron James, his thoughts on the play-in tournament. I'll let you guys go first because I'm not sure where the floor is at. But as we know, LeBron injury, him and KD injury, Actually, the team.
Him and half the league, bro. Like my fantasy
Right.
team, like half the league is injured, not just LeBron. Like
Fair
legit,
enough.
Halliburton went down.
Yes.
Butler was out for a little bit. We got
Right.
like Jalen Brown had a bursitis. Like legit, half the NBA league is injured at
Fair
this
enough.
time.
Fair enough. But with LeBron and the ankle injury, and LeBron stating that he thinks that whoever thought of the play-in tournament should be fired, that's a quote unquote. What's your thoughts on that, first of all?
Well, I will say this. LeBron hasn't been the first player to say this. Luka also had the same sentiment. He did not like it at all. He was probably as aggressive with LeBron. I forgot what he said specifically, but he was like, I don't like it. He's like, for me, if I'm working hard to play all season, especially with this season, back-to-back games, quite aggressive schedule. If I'm working hard season on to make it to the playoffs, to top 8, why must I, again, prove to the NBA that I should be there? So it's not just LeBron. Many players have the same sentiments. If I'm a player, I get it. Only because of the season and how condensed it has been, it's been a lot. So for a player perspective, it's a lot. But I think if with a regular, like from October to regular season, I don't think it would be terrible because they would have more time in between games. But I think because of December to now, it's just like, it's so much games happening. I can see why players think it's too much. So I understand where LeBron's coming from. The idea isn't dumb. It's just a money-making idea, right? And I think Adam Silver, it's funny. Adam Silver said last week, he said, oh, I think it'll easily pass this plan as a permanent fixture in the NBA. But LeBron is now saying it's dumb. So I'm listening. I'm getting my popcorn, and I want to see what's going to happen between Adam Silver and with LeBron, because right now it's a battle between players and owners. So let's see what happens. That's what I think. How about you, Milan?
I think that it's very lame on his part because last year he was all for the play-in tournament. Now all of a sudden it's, oh, well, I've got to play in the play-in tournament? Whoa. This idea.
The bubble, you mean? Okay.
Like there was the play-in tournament, he was for it. Now he's against it. And to me, that's just kind of whack. Like I understand.
But think of this though. Last year was the bubble, so it was a shortened season. So I'm pretty sure everybody understood the fact that games were getting cut by such an amount that you had to somehow squeeze in these other teams to get in. So last year, I think we really can't compare last year's situation to this year, because this year they've pretty much run the majority of the season. You know,
72 is a lot of games.
70. That's like 10 games less. So like.
Yeah,
you know.
it's still a shortened season, and I don't think that this criticism comes if he's not a part of it.
Right.
Like I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he'd be like, oh well, you're gonna make Steph have to play into the tournament. Like if they have the 8th seed, they have the 8th seed. No, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't say anything.
Right.
But it's because he has to. There's a potential that he has to go and do that. And I mean, I understand it, but to be honest, like I like the idea of the play-in tournament because the regular season a lot of the times is just really boring. Like nobody's really playing. Like they know that I got my squad. We just got to get to the playoffs, and that's when you're gonna see me. You know what I mean? I personally, as an NBA fan, I miss the days where the regular season matchups meant something. Like you were looking for, like the Thursday night primetime game. You're just like, yo, I can't wait to watch this game tonight because it's going to be fireworks. There's so many ways you can look at the play-in tournament just to try and get a little bit of get a little more excitement going into the playoffs. So it's I get both sides. Like I understand the player side where it's, especially with the condensed season and the amount of injuries that our guys are experiencing, but I like the idea.
So I agree. Okay, so what Nelly J, were you saying with Luka? I understand they both complained. The only difference between Luka complaining and LeBron complaining is I agree. I think the floor pretty much agrees with this, that if LeBron wasn't in this situation, the timing of LeBron's
comments,
his comment, that is a timing, right? So is not saying people disagree with LeBron. It's just the fact that if the Lakers didn't have these injuries and they were like a top 3 team in the Western Conference, LeBron would not feel the need to come out and defend, the play-in tournament and how ineffective it is, because he's finding himself in that situation. That's when it comes out, and that's what makes it kind of whack, is what you're saying, Milan, right?
So for you guys, it's a timing of when he said it, because he didn't say it 3 months ago. Because I remember, so it's funny. So we had to talk about this with like our other guest, Julian, and I was like, yo, if I'm a player, I'm pissed off. But that was back in January. Well, back then, no one said anything. Well, all of a sudden, we're in May, and now it's an issue. So yeah, good point for him. Good point.
Now, the only thing is I do disagree, I think, is I do not like the play-in tournament, to be honest. Like in
I don't like it either.
Sorry, let me clarify that. Not that, okay, I'm not mad at this year because I understand you've taken away 10 games and you got to do it. That's fine, right? If this is a going forward thing where you're looking to have an 82-game season and you're going to throw in this play-in tournament, I really don't like it. What you guys were saying in regards to like lacking the excitement, the play-in tournament does add an element where it makes the field bigger. But if you think let's think previously, when the last 2 weeks of the NBA season has always been exciting because these guys are playing for the 8th spot. Yes. And it never seems to be one team that clearly is going to be the 8th spot. There's always going to be a 10, 9, and 8. And so I think there's always that drama that's always going to be there going to the last month of the season. I don't think I can't remember a time where teams just coasted in and they've had 1 through 8 set 2 weeks before the season's done. It just doesn't happen that way. There's just go ahead, Milan.
But I think the element is like the play-in tournament is that the last 3 teams are going to be playing each other. Mm-hmm. That's what kind of makes it different.
Well,
right.
it's the last 4 teams, right? It's 7, 8, 9, 10, right?
Sorry, 4 teams. So it's the last 4 teams playing each other. So that's what brings the excitement now. Because you could end the season and you're playing like the number one seed, and like it's not that exciting because if it gets to a blowout, they're gonna start sitting players. But if it's the last 4 teams, it's like, listen, if we don't beat these guys, we're going home. Cancun on 3? Nah, we're not gonna have it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get why you would say it's excitement. I think the issue I have is that like it makes sense for a year like this with COVID and with so many like protocols, people miss games just because they were positive, not because of an actual injury, right? So, but I think for a permanent fixture, I don't think it's needed. It's not because after this year, COVID with the vaccine would not be like this. So I can't see this. So the need for now, I get it for this year. I get why they did it, but for the future league seasons, I don't think it has to be there, to be honest. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So here's what I don't like about the play-in tournament. I don't like the fact that 7 is involved. If you're in 7th place, you've handled business to make the playoffs, right?
Agreed.
So there's no way you should be in jeopardy of anything. I think the play-in tournament should only include the 8th seed, the 9th seed, and the 10th seed. Those 3, and they can fight out to see who's the last spot. But if you're 7th, why are you involved with these losers? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Faheem woke up and chose violence against the play-in tournament. Real violence, yes. But no, you're right. You're right.
That's a fair point. That is
very fair. I agree with that. Hey, Adam Silverboard, call Faheem, okay? Call Faheem up.
You got some ideas for you.
All right. So real quick in regards to some MVP talk. Nelly J, just give me your MVP real quick, and then we'll get into why you say that.
Wow, I hate you coming for me first. So it's hard because I'm biased. Steph Curry's on my fantasy team, and right now I'm in the championship game week. So I gotta say Steph Curry just because that guy's my boy. Yeah, I have to say Steph Curry. Yeah.
Milan?
I don't have one. I have like 3. It could either be like CP3, it could be Joel Embiid, or it could be Joker.
Yeah, Joker and Embiid are my top 3 too. Joker and Embiid, yeah.
Okay, I happen to have one. I've had one since they were in 4th place.
I'm gonna guess Joker.
No, it wasn't.
Woo! Who'd you pick?
It was Chris Paul. I've been saying Chris Paul since they're in 4th place. I remember having a discussion with a friend.
It's having a phenomenal year.
Big up Shane. We had a discussion. It was around the All-Star break-ish. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, just when they were in 4th place, I was saying, this team didn't even make the playoffs last year, and now they're in 4th place. Mm-hmm. I remember him kind of saying, well, you know what? They need to be at the number 1 spot.
Shane said that to you?
But then now they're there now, right?
All right, Shane, what's up?
So seeding matters.
Seeding does. I think it does. But I think I looked into this real quick. I want to say this. Chris Paul, I looked at his numbers of what he's done this year, his numbers this year, and I looked at Steve Nash's numbers in his MVP year. Mm-hmm. And they're so similar. Really? And I want people to keep this in context. When Steve Nash won his MVPs, Steve Nash was not the best player in the NBA.
No, he wasn't.
Like top 5 if we're being generous. Like really, you know what I'm saying?
But
it's just that's when like sometimes it's how people interpret the MVP award. Is it the best player in the league or is the best player for their team?
Most impactful player.
Exactly.
You know what? And I think with the MVP, just like how when Harden got snubbed that one year, I think it's really about the media. Like it's who the media is projecting and the narrative, right? Right now, the narrative, like you rarely see Joker narrative or Embiid narrative. We're seeing a lot of Steph Curry. And I think only today I'm seeing more CP3 like discussion because now the number one, like, hold up, the number one now? Right. Okay. So now that will put CP3 in discussions even more. Cause I think because of just like the media, they love Steph, they love them Embiid, right? And so those two and Joker, but outside of those three, CP3 wasn't really being talked about, but now he is. So we'll see. Like it's all the media, I think, will decide this for sure.
Oh, for sure, no doubt.
For sure. And like we said, like James Harden brought it up like a couple years ago, like when Giannis was, the favorite, and he's just like, I'm. Like, look at what I'm doing. And you guys are talking about Giannis. Like, it comes down to the narrative. When the league wants somebody to be propped up, they're going to prop them up. And it doesn't matter what you do. So based on that, I'll be honest, before the injury, I had James Harden as the MVP. Because what he was doing in Brooklyn was insane.
Right.
Was insane because he was doing it with KD and Kyrie. He was doing it with just Kyrie, and he was doing it by himself.
Yeah, he's an offensive beast.
Yeah, he literally took you have to remember, before he got there, the Nets were like just trying to figure stuff out. They were like 7-7. They're like, okay, what's really going on? And then all of a sudden he gets there, and everything just changes.
Right. No, that's fair enough. So we're going from one MVP talk to another because Aaron Rodgers, there's a saga happening with Aaron Rodgers right now.
Saga, popcorn, y'all get your tea out.
Yeah, I'm glad that you two are here. Just the fact that you guys are very much passionate about the NFL. I self-proclaim I was passionate until the Kaepernick situation, and then I kind of fall back. Now I'm a casual. I mean, I understand enough what's going on with the game, but the details I don't really get caught up in that. So I'm throwing it to you guys. Explain to me and the viewers what's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now.
So I'll start off with the intro, and then Milan will take it away. So essentially, the day of the draft, Aaron Rodgers woke up and chose violence that day. And he said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in Green Bay Packers. I want to play for y'all. Get me the hell out. I don't want to be here. Then the owner of the Packers said, well, we're not gonna trade you anywhere. And that pretty much started an entire saga between Green Bay Packers versus Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead, Milan.
just for the record, Aaron Rodgers hasn't said anything.
Right. Oh, he hasn't.
He in his exit interview after the NFC Championship.
Yes.
With what he said, he led a lot of people to believe that this was his last hurrah. Like it's been great, and he wants to move on. He hasn't said anything.
Right. To the media. Okay, to the media.
But he's spoken to, he might have spoken to I've heard stuff like he's been in the group chats and
Brett Favre was speaking on behalf, and which we can assume that him and Brett Favre have a relationship.
And to me, Brett Favre wouldn't just say something just to say it. Right. Brett Favre pretty much was he's done. So
Right. So it's just one of those things where, as a fan of the entire NFL, it's hard to really understand everything unless you're there, because from the outside, you look at Aaron Rodgers, fam, what the hell what are you complaining about? You've been, in the last 10 years, you've been to the NFC Championship 5 times. If you're organized, in sports, what we like to do is we like to give a lot of the players a lot of props, but we don't really sometimes give ownership their props for putting a team together. Football is a very dependent sport. You're not getting to the NFC Championship game or the Conference Championship game without a good team. So for all intents and purposes, they've done their job.
So when you
See,
say they've done their job, hold
I
on.
don't agree with that though, Marlon. Go ahead.
Okay,
Faheem. I'll
no,
after
you go.
The reason why I don't agree with that is because I don't think they've actually given him a good defensive team ever. Like ever. And to me, that's why they've never made it. I think they've been relying on Aaron's arm for so long and dependent on what he remember, he to me is the best quarterback to me personally in terms of skill in the NFL. Like him and Tom Brady's won more rings, but Aaron Rodgers, what he does on the field, no one can copy that. So my thing is that if they give him an actual good defense, like what the Pats did with Tom Brady, give him a good defensive team, right? I think he would have won more rings. But I think because their defense has been such like garbage the last last decade, I don't think they've really given him what he needs to win a ring. I don't think so.
But they spent all their first and second round draft picks on defensive players. So it's not as if they're not addressing the problem.
I get that,
you know
but I get that. No, I totally agree with you. But what I'm saying though is that there's been years where Packers had no business being in the playoffs, and they were there because of Aaron's back. Like he just took them on his back and carried them. And I think, right? So again, like they've done minimal in my eyes, to be honest, because I feel like he's done most of the work.
So being on the sideline here, what I'm taking from this is what you're saying about his defensive core not being up to par. Marlon, you're saying that they've addressed it.
Well, this year.
But the picks that they've done to address it have not done the job. Then maybe Rodgers does have a gripe in the fact that even if they've acknowledged what the problem is, which is on the defensive side. Okay, go ahead. Where am I missing? What am I missing?
It's not that easy. Like you look at the last two NFC Championship games that he and the defense, like the defense is what especially the last 2 years has been on one of the top rated defenses. They're not slouches.
Okay.
So
top rated, but not top 10 defense. They haven't been top 10.
You don't have to be top 10. Well,
I know, but I'm saying though, like Pats, like the years that the Pats have won were always top 10 defenses because defense wins Super Bowls, not offense, right? Anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. But if you look, when you look at the year they lost to San Francisco, it wasn't because their defense. No, the San Francisco 49ers put their foot in the Green Bay Packers' ass.
But their but that team had better defense than Packers though.
Absolutely, but it's like you can't sit there and say, oh well, Aaron Rodgers was doing this thing. No, he got shut down last year. They went up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got an early lead, and Tom Brady turned the ball over 3 times in the second half. He had his opportunity, and he didn't seize it. So we can't just always go and blame the ownership. When at the end of the day, it's the players didn't step up in those moments. That's why for me it's just like it's hard. Like I can understand it from there might be something personal there that I haven't seen or I'm not privy to see, and from that perspective of being disrespected, that might be very valid, and I won't comment on it. But if I'm just looking at the actual product on the field, I don't think he has that much to stand on because of the success of the team. Like I said, it's not easy to get to the NFC Championship. Look at my damn Cowboys. It's been over 25 years. He still ain't touched it.
No, I mean, it's a good point in terms of like you're saying that. I get what you're saying, but I guess for me, because I do fantasy football every year, right? And I'm in for leagues, and legit, from the numbers itself, I just feel like the teams who win are teams who have a very good, solid O-line, number one, and a very good defensive core, period.
Yep.
That's the key. Your quarterback is obviously important to make, I guess, plays when opportunity arises. However, in terms of a general success, I really think O-line and defense core is the key to winning. And Tampa Bay has a very good defensive core. Actually, they added defensive players for Tom because Tom said, bro, I ain't winning on Tampa Bay unless you add these players for me. So that's what so again, my thing is that I'm not saying it's just like the ownership's fault. I just think that who they picked for defensive side did not perform, and they're gonna make good. Remember, like Broncos had players that they got picked up. Even Ravens, Steelers, they had agents that, but for some reason the Packers didn't pick up those players last year or the year before that. So my thing is that why haven't they done that? And again, maybe Aaron Rodgers was like, hey, pick up this guy for me. And they didn't do it. Like, again, like you're right. There are things that we don't see, that we don't know. But if if I think if other players are saying, yeah, Aaron Rodgers has been disrespected by the team, I'm curious to know why they're saying that, because it's coming out now that he's felt not, I guess, his voice has not been heard. So I'm curious to know why that's being said.
It could be it could be so many different reasons, because it's like, are you comparing, like, are players falling victim and comparing them and just saying like, well, he's as good as so-and-so. Or if you look at Tom Brady's situation, Tom Brady got everything that he wanted. People will look at Aaron Rodgers man, look at Aaron Rodgers. Why aren't you listening to him? But it's just like, you can't do that.
Yeah,
like, you look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a 7-19 every year. They get Tom Brady, who comes with 6 championships. Whatever Tom Brady wants, hey,
all right.
You need this, you can have it.
All right. So on the way out, Nelly J, is he coming back? Yes or no? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back as a Packer? He's going to retire, or are they going to trade him? I'll give you those 1 through 3 options. Just give me what do you think?
I think he might bust a Gronk, retire, and then come back.
And then come back.
Come back. Yeah. He might do that.
Fair. That's fair. Milan.
His best option is going back. Going anywhere else is not guaranteed.
I'm with you. I think he's coming back. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Enjoy the saga, guys, as we will.
All right, Nelly J, let's go to For the Culture.
All right, y'all. For the culture, we'd like to highlight individuals and groups that are for the culture. And today, y'all, we're going to highlight a controversial yet a monumental person in baseball. Former MLB star Alex Rodriquez, another A-Rod. And so, guys, Alex Rodriquez has won World Series. He's won MVPs, everything you can think of. On top of that, he's also a Walmart. So him and Marc Lore, who's a Walmart former e-commerce CEO, has agreed to purchase the NBA Minnesota Timberwolves for approximately $1.5 billion. Now, a month before this deal came through, he actually was trying to buy the New York Mets, but fell short. And so for this deal to happen, the NBA owners have to approve it. And the current owner, Glenn Taylor, will be expected to operate with the franchise for 2 more years while Rodriguez and Lore transition into their new ownership roles. But it's funny. So Glenn Taylor actually purchased the same team for $90 million back in '94, and now he's selling it for $1.5 billion. What an investment, guys! Now, another thing to add on top of this was that when they asked I think the Rookie of the Year prospect Anthony Edwards, when they asked him about the deal, Anthony Edwards said, "Who is he?" ? Hilarious. So, Marlon, what's your thoughts on Alex Rodriguez's new purchase of the Timberwolves? And the WNBA team as well. Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I love when professional athletes are involved in ownership roles, because obviously A-Rod never played basketball, so he probably won't have any input from that perspective, but he understands the grind. So if he can bring his understanding of the clubhouse to his teams and create a new culture for that team, because he's been on some very successful teams. You know, he knows what it takes to be a champion. So if he could lend any sort of advice or anything down to those teams, I think that could be huge for them. Yeah. So I'm very much for that.
No, I'm for it too. I mean, having A-Rod. A-Rod. Sorry.
Yo, he chose violence today, guys. He chose enough violence today, boy.
Having A-Rod, you're right. He is an ex-player. He understands the infrastructure of what it is. It's like Derek Jeter in baseball, where he's the owner of I think it's the Marlins. And it's just like when you have players, I understand now Marlins, it's baseball and it's Jeter baseball. And I understand it's a different sport. But one thing I could say in regards to owning a basketball team, which might be a little bit different, is it's not like the NBA or Major League Baseball. They're not like the NFL, where the NFL and the owners are more hands-on and more involved in the NFL. Having an ownership in the NBA, I mean, it's nice to have a quote-unquote professional celebrity owner. because they can actually put things in process in regards to like management and things along those lines. So it's a plus. I just don't know the direct influence that it's really going to have on the team. As much as, for instance, if it was a Minnesota Vikings and they had celebrity ownership, that might be a little bit different than having the Timberwolves, who, you know, they have their management.
And the Lynx.
And shout out also, because that gets lost in the sauce
Lynx,
also in regards to the Minnesota Lynx also. And they are a very successful WNBA team.
Yes, they are.
So let's put some respect on the name also.
Top,
right.
Yeah. Well, to add to what you said, Marlon and Faheem, I'm also curious to know, will he be able to resolve the last ownership with Kevin Garnett? Because his jersey hasn't been retired. It has not been retired, y'all. And he's like, I mean, who's the top player in that franchise in the last 2 decades?
Oh,
like,
it's gotta be KG. Right?
Exactly. So why is his jersey retired? So I'm curious to know if he can somehow, you know, change that, because that jersey should be hung up there. So anyway,
that's a good point. I could see that also, but not even if him being having that jersey retired, but also I remember hearing something about KG wanting to get into ownership of buying the team. Do you remember hearing that? Just maybe years ago?
Vaguely.
I think years ago, yeah. I think it was him and someone else.
Let me just double check this. Hold on a second. Kevin Garnett purchasing the team. So this is Sports Illustrated posted something 2021. And it seems to be around the same time that it was announced that A-Rod was
a month after, because
okay, well, it states here Kevin Garnett's plan to buy the Timberwolves is over. Yes, so that means he had wanted, so he was in the bid. So I'm going to ask real quick, if you had a choice, you're the Minnesota Timberwolves and you have an option of selling to Kevin Garnett, or you have an option of selling to Alex Rodriquez and his billionaire buddy, I think Kevin Garnett would be a better look, would you not?
I think so, but public money though, it's probably money, because
do you think that Kevin Garnett couldn't put together a team in the circles that he's with and get that kind of money? You don't think so, Milan? No? Okay.
No. I do think so. I think the only reason why he didn't get it is because of old management. They weren't getting along.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true.
They might have just been like, you know what? Oh, you're coming in here? Get out of here. Let's go, A-Rod. And it could have been something out of spite. Like,
I don't know. Like,
you don't do that.
Do you think so? Do you think it's spite? Because
I'll say this: the only name that we know that's attached with KG is KG. So I don't know who else he had there. So I don't know if he's in the bid. Like, I would presume that he has some money.
No, so the reason why he pulled out is because he wants to focus on a new market. Because I think he thinks he can get a better deal. Remember, right? It's a business thing. I don't think it was because of that. Because essentially, Garnett wrote that he wants to focus on Seattle and Vegas. So that's why he pulled out. It wasn't just because
No. He said he wanted to focus on Seattle and Vegas because he got denied in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh, well, okay, I guess can't get Minnesota. I guess it's on to Vegas and Seattle. That was kind of the tone of that.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, that's fair. I mean, you're right, Marlon, because it could be for that reason. But I'm saying, though, it could be other factors as to why, right? Because I just think that, remember, Alex Rodriquez and his partner, Marc Lore, like Marc Lore is rich as hell. So it could have been just money. Like maybe the ownership wanted 1.5 billion. I'm going to have 1.1 billion. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could be that much of a difference why they didn't say yes to him yet. But it could be a bit of it's you, right? But at the end of the day, these guys are freaking are rich. Like they don't care. Like personal stuff will get in the way of money. You know what I'm saying? Like money will trump personal, right?
That's a good point.
So anyway, but yeah, I mean, and I really hope Kevin Garnett does get a team, because that'd be dope for him to do that, because I think he'd be a good owner as well. So look up. So good point to point that out, Faheem.
What I would have liked to see, actually, thinking about it, is KG get Minnesota as he wanted, and A-Rod and Lore go to Seattle. Because remember, A-Rod, didn't A-Rod start his career with the Mariners?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
So think about it. Both teams, both franchises, both cities are happy. Minnesota gets their guy, and Seattle gets their guy. In a perfect world, of course. But
a really dope story, actually.
Yeah. Anyway,
well,
all right.
Well, guys, big up to Alex Rodriquez on his new venture. We wish you guys and your partner, Marc Lore, all the best. And hopefully y'all will hire some Black C-suite individuals for your franchise. Let's go to the next segment, Faheem.
All right, so let's close it out with That's Absurd.
That's absurd. Faheem, bro, what was absurd this week? What was absurd?
So as you know, in this COVID climate right now, the Tokyo Olympics for the summer, it's on, it's off, it's maybe, it's up in the air, okay? Before even the dust settles on this, they've actually came out publicly and they've made a quote to say that the Tokyo Olympics, they plan on banning all Black Lives Matter apparel.
At the ceremonies. So at all the ceremonies, yeah.
And there's also disciplinary action to those that do go and break it. Absurd.
Absurd. Which is crazy that if you guys watch Breakfast Club, Dr. Umar was on there and he was talking about how he was upset that Naomi is her country that she plays for is Japan and not Haiti, being a Black woman and so forth. And it's funny, it's crazy how, like he said, I mean, we all know like she's for the culture. No, I mean we all know it was money, and she obviously is a Black woman, and she wears her BLM apparel all the time, and like that. Dr. Umar, he likes to, but I mean he missed some good points. I get where he's coming from, but I understand that Naomi is an activist, right? But it's crazy how as a Black activist, I wonder how she feels about this, because I'm like, yo, how'd she feel about the fact that her own country is now saying you can't wear apparel at ceremony, but Naomi wears pure apparel upon ceremony, right? You know what I mean? So I'm curious to know. But anyway, I think it's absurd only because they said because BLM is a political statement, which is not. Like, it's crazy how Stop Asian Hate isn't political, but Black Lives Matter is political. Keep the same energy. And it just shows the ignorance of people not understanding what Black Lives Matter means. And on top of that, it just shows that white supremacy is also in the Asian culture. Yes, y'all. It's not just a white thing. It's not just a UK thing. White supremacy is also an Asian thing. Look up what happens in Asia. A lot of them do believe the light-skinned people are better than people with dark skin. And so my thing is that I think, I mean, first of all, I was shocked. Like, oh yeah, that's like, they're in Asia. People out there are racist. They're everywhere, right? So it just sucks though, because the Olympics should be a time to unite all the countries. And I think this will cause division. Because if you're Black Chinese or Black Indian or Black, whoever you are, if you're Black French, like, it doesn't matter, you're still Black. And they're going to cause division based on your beliefs that Black Lives Matter. Anyway, go ahead.
So I just want to ask this real quick, and Marlon, I'll let you jump in. Because you mentioned about the hashtag Stop Asian Hate, in which, I mean, hashtag Stop Asian Hate, amazing. It's great because we get that we got to push that. I'm just asking, do you think that if in the Olympics someone wore a hashtag Stop Asian Hate apparel, do you think they would be disciplined under the same as they were Black Lives Matter? Or do you think, because that could be seen, like you mentioned, made a good point of it being, both of them are political statements according to their reasoning of what a political statement is. Do you think that they would discipline somebody if they wore hashtag Stop Asian Hate?
No, they won't. I don't think.
You don't think so? What about you, Marlon?
I don't. I think, but I think it's going to be. I think that's going to, if someone did and someone did wear something that said hashtag Stop Asian Hate and they didn't do anything and it came out, that story would drown out what is happening at the Olympics.
Fair enough.
Because it's controversial, because then it's just like, okay, well, what is this? You know what I mean?
That's true. Let me pivot real quick on the way out, because I do want to address the Naomi Osaka, because I've heard that actually my wife, who's not really into sports at all, had brought that to me, and I was just like, huh? What do you guys think of this? So her background is from Japan. She's Japanese background on her mother's side. On her mother's side,
she's American. Isn't she American?
She's born in
Haiti.
Yeah. No.
She's born in Haiti, or like,
no.
Where was she born? Okay.
Osaka, Japan.
Yeah, Japan, right?
Okay.
And then at a young age, she moved to Florida. and that's when she started playing tennis, right?
Okay, that's why I was
So
confused.
and her roots on her mother's side is clearly Japanese, right? Actually, I think her father was actually in Japan, and they actually left Japan and came to the United States after. So I don't think they met. Okay, so that's kind of.
But also her dad taught her how to play tennis. He was her like he was like her trainer and like those.
Most
like,
definitely,
Serena Williams,
yes,
father.
But I actually have zero problem with her playing for Japan. Yes, she lived her life in the United States, but if it comes between United States where you lived and your roots that you consider, like apparently at home when she was young, they speak Japanese. Like that's still part of her culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have zero problem. I think she should go play for Japan in the Olympics. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like,
okay,
at the end of the day, like what she did wasn't against Black people or heritage. I think Japan offered her a check, and she said yes. Like, of course, make your money, girl. Like, they're giving her endorsements, they're giving her lots of money to play for Japan, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And I'm actually happy a Black woman is Japanese that's showing the Black culture because she knows she's very activist. So
right.
I see no issues with it at all. I just think what Umar was trying to say was that Haiti has a lot of issues politically with other countries, and he wanted her to kind of bring up those issues on the global stage, which is fine, but my girl can't do everything, okay? She's fighting Black Lives Matter, she's fighting Say Her Name, George Floyd, like Breonna Taylor, like she's doing a lot of fights. So let her do her thing, but no, I agree with you, Faheem, no issue with her playing for Japan, none at all. How about you, Milan?
I agree with you guys, but that's the exact point I think Dr. Umar is trying to articulate. It's not so much that he has an issue with her representing Japan, but it's just like in this current moment, it's just like we have like this momentum going. Don't let it die. Like you have this opportunity to jump on the global stage, and she'll probably do very well, and she could probably, like we said, bring a lot of things to light and help out Haiti in the process. So from his perspective, it's just like it's not often we get these sort of opportunities. We cannot squander them. So that's his point. Because I think he even says like, listen, I'd really like she could like do it like go for Haiti this year, and then the next time you can go and you can play for Japan. It's not an issue. It's not an either or. It's a seizing the opportunity type thing.
Yeah.
So, and I get okay. So if the Olympic Committee says, you know what, no BLM apparel, there's still like if it's specific to BLM political apparel, as they say, couldn't these athletes do something that's not BLM apparel related, but still make a movement, such as wear a black glove, black fist, like do something? Go ahead, Nelly J.
So today people were saying that that's the move, right? Is that even though we can't wear actual BLM or Black Lives Matter, that someone said I'm Black and I could just put Lives Matter. Like, hey, do what you gotta do, right? There's Say Her Name, there's I Can't Breathe, there's other statements that they can wear. I think the issue is that Tokyo, why even do it? Like, why even say that it's a political issue? Because it's a human rights issue, and it just shows that the people making the decisions that are on the Olympic Committee are unfamiliar with human rights issues. Like it's like Olympics, you should be aware of what's happening. Like political, like politics and human rights are not politics, and I think they got lost. And also, Faheem and Milan, I'm gonna put it to you guys: do you think it's happening because of corporate pressure? I think it's corporations who are sponsoring that push for this. Thoughts on this, Milan?
Absolutely. Whenever there's money involved, they can muscle you and bully you into doing whatever they want you to do. So if there's a threat that like, oh, if we see anything that says Black Lives Matters, you can forget our contribution the next time we come. You know what I mean? And the Olympic Committee needs, like just like any other organization, they need money. They need funding to throw these events. This shit ain't cheap. It ain't cheap.
Right. Actually, I'm wondering if maybe it goes higher than the Tokyo Olympic Committee. I'm wondering if the actual Olympic Committee that governs Tokyo doesn't want this Black Lives Matter.
Well, it's funny because
Go ahead.
they said that they can wear it during interviews. They can wear it anywhere, press conferences, but they can't wear it. So it's a ceremony. So open clothing ceremony and also the podium ceremony. They can't wear it for the ceremonial, but they can wear it in interviews or everywhere. So my thing is that bring your BLM outfits, wear it for all the interviews, wear it when you're warming up for the race, wear it to death. So that way it's like either way, because it can be worn there, but not during a ceremony.
I understand.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
but then why ban it? Like,
Yeah,
why ban it?
makes no sense to me. If that was the case, I probably wouldn't even show up for the ceremony. If you're gonna sit there and ban something like that, I would have probably just come and did my events and then just
Win gold and go home.
Yeah, just get my
mail my medal to me.
Yeah, you can mail my medal to me. Like I'm not playing this game.
All right. Let's throw this episode in the books.
Woo! Episode 38.
38. Mylan.
Mylan, man.
As usual.
Bro, you know you always come with straight facts, straight fire. So, so Mylan, so as you know, we love to give our guests a chance to do a shout out. So the floor is yours.
I just want to shout out everyone that's just trying to make it. You know what I mean? Everyone in Canada and Ontario, we're dealing with a whole lot of bullshit, but we're still persevering. This will end soon. Well, hopefully it will end soon. But this will end. This will come to an end soon, and we're gonna prosper from that point on. So keep your head up, keep moving forward, and just enjoy the fact that we're able to breathe and we're able to live.
Yeah, no, real talk. Good shout out. So y'all, I want to shout out Mylan for coming on the podcast. Like, I know Mylan for more than half my life, went to the same high school. Him, my brother Bernard, who's been a guest, are like besties and stuff like that. So great having you on the podcast and for coming on here, like real talk. And I also want to shout out CP3. Today's his birthday. We're recording on CP3's birthday. So big up CP3. Before he was even recruited or drafted, I was a huge fan of him. Like, I thought he would come in and just tear everything up. He went to the Clippers, things happen, but I would really love to see him win a ring. Like, out of all the teams this year that are playing, I actually want the Suns to win only because of CP3. I think he paid his dues. Remember, OKC wasn't even last year. He paid his dues there. Now the Suns, like, this guy deserves everything he gets. So I'm rooting for the Suns, y'all, in the playoffs. No Raptors, so Suns all the way. Faheem.
I'm going to keep this quick. I guess since I mentioned him earlier, I'm going to shout out Shane Biggs. He's a long-time listener.
Yes.
Like when you say day one, someone who will listen to an episode, text you, call you on what he disagrees with. So, big up.
Shade,
enough respect, all right?
Big up, Shade.
All right, so let's put this episode in the books. That's episode 38. Nelly J.
Yes, y'all. So, guys, if you had a good time, if you had a laugh or two, just subscribe now. Subscribe. Tell a friend, all right? And tell a next friend as well, all right? Faheem.
That's right. You know where to find us. We're there for you. All platforms, wherever you want to take us in. Enjoy. That's episode 38. Good Rookies Podcast, and we out. Peace.